Welcome to the Great American Collectibles Show, heard Wednesdays at 6:30 p.m. Eastern on PSA.com and the PSA Facebook page. The Great American Collectibles Show is brought to you by PSA and the National Sports Collectors Convention. Tonight's headlines are brought to you by Sports Collectors Daily. For all of your hobby news, features, and more, visit sportscollectorsdaily.com. And now, your hosts, Tom Zappala and Rico Petrocelli.
Rick, they're on a roll. They're on a roll.
All right, he's a phony.
They're on a
Everybody
roll,
listen,
brother.
look at him. They went how many, whatever it is, in a row. Now he wears the Red Sox.
That's bull.
When they lose two in a row, hey, everything comes off.
That is such a lie,
Don't
man.
give me that.
That is such a lie.
Really, you should see
I can tell.
Holy jeez.
He had this screen
that's
printed
disgusting.
on before the show.
Exactly. My wife did it. Hey, welcome to the Great American Collectibles Show. Tom Zappala, Red Sox Hall of Famer Rico Petrocelli. We have a special guest today. We are going to talk because we are excited. The collectibles world is excited here in the greater Boston area. The Fenway Card Show on May 20th and 21st.
That's correct.
At Fenway Park on the concourse. And with us today is the guy behind the whole thing, Chris Costa. Chris, welcome, brother.
Good to see
Chris.
you.
Nice to see you. Nice
Rico.
to see you.
Great to see you.
Good to see you, man. Yeah,
And
happy to be
we're going
here.
to talk about the show. We're going to talk about, he's a young guy. He's an old guy.
Hey.
I'm in the middle.
Yeah, you're right. You're in the middle.
We're going to talk today. We're going to talk about. We're going to be all over the place, but I want to get into some really good discussion on what we've been talking about: vintage versus modern.
Do the headlines.
All right. First, our headlines. Again, crime doesn't pay. Michigan police officer accused in sports card box price switching scheme.
Wow.
Check this out. A Michigan police officer is accused of a retail price switching scheme involving sports card boxes that cost one retail chain a five-figure loss. Michigan Attorney General Dana Nessel says Lansing police officer Greg Tracy was arraigned last week on one count of retail fraud first and one count of organized retail fraud. Tracy is accused of switching prices on boxes with lesser valued ones and selling the higher valued boxes to others. Nessel says the scheme began in January and continued until earlier this month when he was arrested. Prosecutors say Tracy is believed to have defrauded the Major Corporation of over $10,000. This is happening every freaking week.
And the reason is because the industry is so popular, seriously, and the value of the cards, a lot of the cards is very high.
I mean, have you?
So you're going to get some of these.
Have you been
thieves
reading
and
about
crooks.
every week someone's breaking into a card shop?
There's a lot of crime taking place in our industry, and I think it's mainly because, as Rico said, the industry has caught the eye of so many folks that weren't really aware of it in the past. So I think you're seeing people realizing from a bad acting perspective that there's an opportunity. Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's not.
Well, anyway, some
great.
more information. You can go to sportscollectorsdaily.com. Our good friend Rich Miller and the gang at Sports Collectors Daily, they do a great job. Again, we have a great show. We have Chris is going to be with us for the whole hour. We're going to bring in a second, Bobby Livingston from RR Auctions, one of the best auction houses in the country. And actually, Bobby's going to be at the show. And then in the second part, the last segment, we're going to bring in our good friend Tom Ruggie from Destiny Wealth Management. We're going to talk about what Tom does, what his company does, but we're also going to talk about his collection. He's got an eye-popping collection. So let's bring in our good friend. He looks half dead.
Get some sun, will
Bobby,
you?
will you smile? There you go. That's better. Bobby Livingston from RR Auctions. How are you, brother?
Doing great. How are you guys doing? Good to see you.
Bobby, are you at the Amherst office, are you?
I am. I'm in New Hampshire.
You are?
Yes.
Hey, listen, I went on your site, man, and it's just amazing how many different types of auctions you have. Before we get into the sports part of it, why don't you tell us about what you have going right now, some of the ones you just completed. Some crazy stuff.
Well, we just had a space auction. We do two of those a year focused on NASA and America's space flight. We sold a bunch of Omega watches combined for almost $1.2 million, which is, we're not known for selling Omega watches, but we are known for selling NASA items. So it's kind of a nice crossover for us to do so well with watches. But then we had things from the Mercury rockets and Gemini missions and Apollo missions, things that went on the moon. So those are always fun.
Have you ever sold Tang?
No, but we've sold space food that's dried up from the 60s. That's pretty remarkable. It's pretty fun stuff.
Is it really? And by the way, Chris,
you
jump
try
in
it?
anytime.
Yeah,
Yeah.
of course.
Yeah, I mean,
Gotta put water in it.
Have you ever had a full spacesuit at auction?
All the spacesuits belong to the United States government still, but we've had backup suits and different parts of spacesuits, but we've never had a complete one original. But we do get Russian ones if you want to wear a Ruski.
Hey, Sputnik, huh?
there you go. Well, I mean, what's the one NASA piece that sticks out in your mind that you guys have sold?
Well, of course, I like the rotation hand controller that Dave Scott used to land on the moon from Apollo 15 because they were supposed to leave that on the moon. He landed the craft. He was a pilot, and he went and took it back with him against regulations and kept it. And in 2011, there was a federal law passed that allowed astronauts to sell things that they had brought back from the moon. So that's one of my favorites because
cool.
it's the whole mechanized box. And we sold that for about $675,000.
Wow. Very cool. All right, so again, before we get into the sports, don't you have a historic auction going on right now with some really cool? Some of this stuff. I don't know where you get this stuff, but you get some historic documents.
Yeah, we've got an auction going on right now where we've got one of the original checks that Apple company wrote out in 1976, signed by Steve Jobs, and it's a really beautiful check, and it's got the address for Apple computers was a mail drop. so it's kind of phenomenal, and it's Steve Jobs hiring his first consulting firm on marketing, so it makes it really significant, and it's perfect. It's in perfect condition. Yeah. We also have. And this is encapsulated by PSA as Marilyn Monroe's driver's license from when she lived with Arthur Miller in Connecticut. And she had a 1955 Thunderbird convertible. She would drive around Connecticut. So, Tom, Rico, you probably were there.
I wish I was, I tell you.
Top down. Can you imagine the top down and whizzing by you as
wow.
1950s?
Perfect.
The hair flying in the wind.
Exactly. You're right there.
Holy
Boy.
jeez.
Yeah, a little drop shift.
Hey, Bobby, we got a couple of minutes left. You're going to be okay, ahead, Rick. No,
I wanted to, when he was on earlier, he came in the studio, the old studio. I saw his catalog. I think you brought a catalog. They had an Abraham Lincoln card, and it was signed, wasn't it?
Right. He would sign some CDBs, little photographs. He's known to have signed several of them and actually sold some of them for relief of Union soldiers' wives and families. Yeah. They kind of auctioned them, if you can imagine. So you can get a signed photograph, small one of Abraham Lincoln.
Bobby, you get a lot of the documents that you guys get, historic document, you do run through PSA, right? Like either Kevin Keating, or just to authenticate all that stuff, correct? PSA DNA?
That's right. We rely on PSA to make sure everything we sell is authentic. We have our own in-house authenticators, so we look at the stuff first, then we show it to PSA to make sure we're right, and we're really conservative. So if there's ever an issue, even if we disagree with each other, we just don't run it.
And speaking of authentication, PSA will be on site at the Fenway show, and they'll be offering DNA authentication of autographs in-house.
Now, listen, for our viewers and audience, that's huge because everybody knows. I mean, PSA has, they've limited their exposure out here on the East Coast, especially in New England. This is a big event that they're going to be at the Fenway Card Show. So they will be doing authentication right there, PSA DNA authentication on the spot. Bring your stuff because that's big. Bobby, what about, let's talk about the Fenway show for a sec. Are you bringing sports memorabilia, or are you just going to be there to introduce yourselves? Because I like, you guys really are just getting into sports memorabilia big time.
Well, we've been working with PSA to encapsulate raw autographs and other things. We've had two dedicated encapsulated autograph auctions, so we're going to be bringing lots of non-sports encapsulated PSA items to the show. We're really excited. growing up here in Boston to be at Fenway. It's a great place. What a great place to hold a show. So
You think?
we'll be bringing in a lot of historic documents, like that Steve Jobs check in Maryland, but also George Washington and a whole bunch of other things. We're looking forward to meeting a lot of our old clients. We don't do shows very often. So we're kind of excited to see our old friends, after being here in New England since 1976.
We're excited to have you guys. I think it's such a unique space, especially for an auction house like RR, who specializes in such historic and memorable documents and items. Being Fenway Park, the most historic and beloved structure in the country, I think there's some really nice crossover there. We're super excited to have you guys.
I agree, man. That place is built in 1912, so we'll have a lot of great stuff that echoes nicely in those halls. Besides sports memorabilia, we're psyched about it, and I'm so grateful that you're doing that show.
Looking forward to seeing you, Bobby. Make sure you spring for a hot dog for me, please. I'm begging you. That's the least you can do. All right, brother. What's your auctions? What's your website address?
It's rrauction.com. We got lots of auctions going on all the time, so visit us, register, and tell them that Tommy Zapp sent you.
Are you still gigging?
Say what?
What's that?
Are you still gigging? Are you?
I have a big Bob Dylan birthday party I'm doing this month. Look, Napoleon and
Let's
Rags.
go.
Very cool. Very cool.
I'm playing.
That's all. They're very cool, man. Yeah. All right. Take care. We love you, Bobby.
See you, Bob.
Be good.
All right, guys.
Bobby
Thank you
Livingston
so
from
much. See you at Fenway.
our auction. Yep. Good guy. Good guy.
Oh.
I'll tell you, they do a hell of a job. All right, Chris, let's talk a little bit about the show.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, this show that's, I'm telling you, this thing is picking up a head of steam like you wouldn't believe.
A lot of buzz.
It really is.
There's a lot of buzz.
Now, first question that I want to know is, Red Sox, they've sanctioned this. They're behind this 100%, right?
Yeah,
tell us about that.
Yeah, of course. So we partner with Fenway Sports Management,
Yep.
who, of course, is the management arm of the Red Sox, but also of the ballpark, Fenway Park. And they've been amazing partners. 100% partnership. They've been super supportive. They're helping us promote through the Red Sox channels, the Red Sox email lists, and obviously building this as a fan experience, because they look at this really as not only an opportunity to get sports cards, trading cards in our world into the eyes of the public and giving us a venue for us to continue to do trade shows like we all love to do, but also really offering this as an extension of a Red Sox fan experience. The obvious overlap between collectibles, sports cards, memorabilia, and the Red Sox organization is pretty apparent. So not only are we excited to bring sports cards and all of the services like PSA and Golden and RR into the house, but also offer incredible autograph and fan experiences with David Ortiz and Pedro Martinez and Jonathan Papelbon and Jose Canseco and Rico Petrocelli. So that's one of the coolest parts of the show, is bringing folks together with some of the legends of the organization and giving them an opportunity to interact.
And have they been advertising it during the games?
Yeah, so there's live
great.
Reads going on during the broadcast.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's
We're
good.
doing a huge radio tour, which obviously includes this podcast. And, getting the word out as far and as wide as we can. But I think in general, what's really unique about the show is it obviously has a drag into the industry, right? We're getting all of the major, auction houses. We're getting all of the major authentication services in sight. We're getting a huge draw from a ticket perspective, but it's also bringing non-collectors or new collectors.
I think that's what's key.
Yeah.
We've talked about this all of the time. The future of this hobby are kids and young collectors. And Rico, we've seen it over the last several years. Huge spike at the National with a younger crowd, young kids.
Yeah,
right.
A lot of them, and they're serious. They go and watch and look for items, cards that they like, and they buy them.
Yeah. What about dealers, Chris? Do you have a lot of card dealers that are going to be there?
Big list of card dealers, a lot that are returning and are regulars at our other trade shows, right? We do a show at Boston Garden. We do a show at Foxwoods Casino. So we have a group of core dealers that do every one of our shows. And then you're getting also the large draw from other national dealers. But, yeah, many of the largest dealers or consigners or even whether it be collectors, are all setting up at the show. The one that jumps out is MC Sports Cards, who's based up here in New Hampshire. He's one of the largest, dealers and consigners in the country. So there will be some incredible inventory available for sale, available for trade, whether it be vintage, modern, ultra modern, it's all going to be there. You'll be able to, look at anything from a 52 mantle all the way up to a Jason Tatum rookie card.
We are chatting with Chris Costa from the Fenway Card Show. Rick, let me ask you a question. When you were playing, did you guys do a lot of? Did you sign a lot of cards because it was a no-no back then for a collector not to sign a card? But did you sign a lot of cards?
No,
your own cards, like
no. The one card that I remember, I still have. I think it's still out there, but they printed it on. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I have. I've seen it.
One of those, yeah.
Much like the 52 mantle, which has a facsimile autograph.
What about Topps? Did you do a lot of promotions? You guys do a lot of promotions for the card company?
No. What do they need? Hey, I got my my record player, so
that's how different it is today.
Let's
right?
tell them. Tell them the story.
Lifetime.
Tell them the story.
The guy meets me. We were training.
It was Cy Berger, right?
Cy, right. Cy Berger, right off the plane. Rico, hey, I'm from Brooklyn, New York. Yeah, Cy. Listen, we want to have you on a card, on your own card. He said, sign here. So,
how old are you, 21, 22?
No, you
signed away.
I was 18, 19 years old. I said, on my own card? Yeah, give me. And he says, look, we're going to give you a catalog. You can pick out something from the catalog. So I picked a stereo, a record player.
Oh,
Can you believe
and
that?
That was it. That was it.
What a deal.
I got the stereo.
What a deal.
What a deal is right.
But it wasn't just you.
For life.
It wasn't just you, though. All the players.
Everybody, yeah. Then the bat company was the same. Hilrick and Brasby, same thing. Guy says, you get your own bat with you. Oh, Corey, where do I sign?
What'd you get, a refrigerator?
$200 or golf clubs.
You went to golf clubs. Yeah, of course. But that's a great example of how different our industry how far our industry has come, right? Because now you have the manufacturers like Topps or Panini or Upper Deck actively participating and promoting the athletes and getting out in front of making these athletes, icons. And you look at some of the rookies that are coming up to the MLB and what Topps is doing to promote the new releases of Bowman or Topps Chrome.
Yeah.
They're getting out with Julio Rodriguez or Drew Jones in the Bowman set, and they're making these rookies stars. And, not that they need any help making them stars, but they're leveraging that to help promote the card industry and really get this product out into the masses.
Chris, let me ask you. So let's take a rookie, not a rookie, but let's take a young player. When a collector buys a card, a modern and ultra modern card, are they kind of rolling the dice? And I'm using Tatis, for instance, as an example. The Tatis card was off the charts when he first came up. Then he had some issues. That card drops like a rock. Same thing with Zion Williamson. He gets hurt. It drops like a rock. Do you have any advice for a young collector?
Yeah. Well, if you look at Fernando Tatis, right, and if you look at sports cards and you draw a parallel to the stock market or investments, that's almost like a company getting caught in a massive fraud scandal, right? It's the exact same thing that you'd expect from, a major bank getting caught up in a fraud scandal and their stock tanking. Tatis, he got whacked and he got caught and, unfortunately his market came down. Now he's back in the league and still showing that he's a wildly talented player and his prices are coming up. But yeah, when you're buying a young player and you are prospecting, meaning you are buying into the prospect of that player being a star, you're taking a chance. But if you look at it, again, through the parallel or the lens of the stock market or the investment world, you're doing the same when you're buying a startup technology company or if you're buying stock into a company like Zoom or like Airbnb. Of course, these companies are hot. They're exciting. And you are banking on the fact that the companies continue to grow at a rapid rate. But all it takes is one bad earnings call, and the stock will pull back. And that's the same with these young players. So is it safer to invest in the Babe Ruths and the Willie Mays and the Mickey Mantles or the Michael Jordans of the world? Of course. But if you're looking for upside, we talk about diversifying a portfolio. It's best to have some of that and also some risk on the younger side.
I think you're dead on, Rick.
What's amazing about the show, you got two Hall of Famers, but more than Hall of Famers, with Big Pappy and
Pedro.
Pedro, that's fabulous. I mean, if you're a Red Sox fan, just to come there, get the autograph, buy a couple of cards, of course. But how'd you guys do it? I mean,
Well, we definitely identified last year when we first started the show that there was a huge opportunity based on the foot traffic that we saw and the type of customer that we saw, to turn this into more of a more of a Red Sox / baseball fan experience, and have that coupled with the collector experience. So bringing in David Ortiz, bringing in Pedro Martinez and Papelbon and Brock Holt and Steve Pierce and Tim Wakefield, having all of these guys and yourself, Tim Lynn, all of these guys come in and offer fans an experience. It means you can come to the ballpark, you can come to the show, and you don't have to be looking for a Mickey Mantle rookie, or you don't have to be looking for a Zion Williamson rookie, or you don't have to be looking to buy a box of cards. You just want to come, enjoy the ballpark, step foot on the warning track, go up for an autograph, to meet Mike Timlin, take a picture with Pedro. It doesn't have to be about cards, but what's great is those folks are going to be around cards by coming to the ballpark, and it's going to bring exposure to our industry.
All right, listen, we are chatting with Chris Costa. We're going to take a quick break. We come back. It's going to be On Deck with Rico. Tom Ruggie is going to be joining us a little later on. Hang in there. We'll be right back.
Since 1996, Brian Drent and the staff at Denver's Mile High Card Company have led the charge in the collectibles hobby. Mile High is a full-service dealer specializing in buying and selling cards, and offers a competitive consignment program for all collectors. Whether it be their computerized want list service, appraisals, or auction services, Mile High has it all. If you've been searching for a company with a selection of high-grade vintage 1888 to 1970 baseball cards and memorabilia that shares your passion, aim high, Mile High. Go to milehighcardco.com or call 303-840-2784 for more information.
Let's go! Batter up!
Hi, everyone. This is Rico Petrocelli. JustCollect.com, a leader in the vintage sports card industry, is giving free appraisals on your vintage cards. They'll evaluate your collection for free and let you know the value of it at no cost and no obligation. If you're ready to sell, JustCollect.com will offer you industry-leading prices to buy your card collection. To begin your free baseball card appraisal, visit JustCollect.com or call them at 732-828-2261. That's JustCollect.com for your free vintage card appraisals and top buy prices for your cards. Check out JustCollect.com today.
This is Brian Drent, president of Mile High Card Company. Is your sports card and memorabilia collection properly insured? For easily replaced personal property, homeowners insurance is all most people need. But for prized possessions that you may have spent a lifetime collecting, it doesn't go nearly far enough. Collectables Insurance Services has been insuring for over 50 years. They offer a full range of protection and a $0 deductible at an affordable rate with no appraisals required. I know because they insure my collection. If you have a minute, go to collectinsure.com and learn more about insuring your personal card or memorabilia collection.
Hi, this is Dan from Memory Lane Auctions, here to remind you that the renowned Memory Lane Collectibles Company has served as a beacon of light to the collecting community for the past several decades. Indeed, folks, it has been our utmost privilege and pleasure to provide the most enthusiastic collectors with an abundance of the finest sports cards and memorabilia for America's most coveted sports personalities via our world-class auctions. Whether you choose either a private sale transaction or the auction route, Memory Lane cordially invites you to reach out to us to maximize the value of your prized possessions. Also, it is not just sales that we pride ourselves on being the best of the rest, because if you are seeking a particular keepsake for your esteemed gathering, we will be relentless in our quest to find that special piece to fulfill your collecting dreams. So no time to wait. Reach out to us today for the purposes of capitalizing on our unparalleled marketing capabilities. Simply pick up the phone and dial 877-606-5263. That's 877-606-LANE, or find us on the World Wide Web at www.memorylaneinc.com. Now is the time for your valued consignment to ultimately become another one of Memory Lane's record-setting prices.
How would you like to own the bat that was used by your favorite player when he hit that towering home run or game-winning base hit? Now look no further than JT Sports, specializing in the sale and authentication of professional game-used bats. As the official authenticators of professional model game used bats for PSA DNA, JT Sports will guarantee the authenticity of any bat purchased from them. JT Sports also buys and sells game-worn uniforms, gloves, and baseball equipment. The unique quality of the collectible is what JT Sports is all about. Give them a call at 609-487-8003 or check them out at GameUseBats.com.
Your questions answered. On deck with Rico Petrocelli.
On Deck with Rico. Time for our segment On Deck with Rico, brought to us by our good friend Brian Dwyer and the great staff at REA Auctions. By the way, you're going to see them next year.
It's a great
don't forget,
house,
great kid. Don't forget to get your bid in by going to RobertEdwardAuctions.com. That's Robert Edward Auctions for extraordinary results and extraordinary service. Rico, this is an easy freaking question this week, submitted by a guy named Mike Jewett. And Mike, by the way, you will receive a Great American Collectibles T-shirt as long as you get me your address. If you don't, you're out. All right, here's the question.
Tough, always tough. Go ahead.
You played with Yaz for many years. How many years you played with Kyle for?
13.
13 years. In your opinion, honestly, how good was Kyle Yastrzemski?
He's a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, so's Ted Lyons.
Ted Lyons?
Yeah, he's a pitcher.
Oh. Yaz was is a Hall of Famer, and he certainly deserves it. Here's what happened. Yaz, early on, he didn't hit a lot of home runs. He sprayed the ball, he hit for average. But Yaz wasn't just a really good hitter, great hitter, but he was an outstanding left fielder. He played the wall better than anyone.
Now, I was going to ask you that. You've played with a lot of left fielders.
Yeah.
A lot of guys that played the wall. Mm-hmm. He was like a science to him.
He was the best. He practiced. He worked at it. And so after the 67th season, he won the Triple Crown. The next year, he had 300 or something.
301.
301, right? And he was getting booed. But people just, over the years, I've said, they didn't want to pitch him. They're not going to, you know what I'm saying? They're throwing balls. Sometimes he chased, so he didn't hit for average, didn't hit as many home runs. But the guy came on, and he was just a great all-around player. And one of the reasons why he stayed so long in the game is that he could always hit the fastball. You got to hit the fastball. You don't have to be a great breaking ball hitter. If you hit the hangers, that's fine. But you got to hit the fastball because the pitcher, his best control is with the fastball.
But it was easy for him, too, to transition to first base. That was a big plus,
That's another
too,
thing.
Right?
That's right. Absolutely.
He was versatile.
No.
Yeah. He was clutch. He was and a great teammate. In the clubhouse, he was a quiet guy, but in the clubhouse we had some fun.
You've told a couple of stories.
Well, no,
you can tell that you and Louis Aparicio ganging up on him.
They used to tear each other's clothes. Yeah, they cut the socks.
No.
Yeah. Then we got to the point where they started ripping each other's sport jackets and suits. Two guys.
And Aparicio was a dresser, man.
Shark skins, all that stuff.
But wasn't there an incident with Yaz's overcoat?
Oh, he wore Columbo. I swear. We burned it.
That's what I heard. I heard that there was a rumor that you and Aparicio set it on fire.
Well,
where? In the
Fenway
clubhouse?
No.
On the pitcher's mound.
We got it outside.
So when you say he became an expert or maybe the best at playing the wall, how was he taking those reps? Is he having somebody play balls off the wall for him at practice? Is he more, out there taking reps? How does that work?
Yeah, he did, exactly. He just, they hit the ball off the wall, different angles, and he just, knew. He knew the parts of the wall. The only problem was the ladder. If it hit the ladder, you didn't know where it was going.
And Rick, how many?
And Rice, by the way, Jimmy Rice was not good at first as a kid,
Yeah.
But he became very good at it by working hard. Johnny Pesky every day.
So let me ask you this question: how many cigarettes did smoke a game?
A few. Him and Doug Griffin.
And now, is that in the dugout? Is that in the dugout?
No, in the runway.
In the tunnel.
In between innings. In between innings, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, but you used to see, 3 outs, and all of a sudden, what the hell was that? That's Yaz. Yes.
Straight to the tunnel.
Him and Doug Griffin. But he was
This is a quick
he was
break.
great. Yeah,
Quick break.
quickie, yeah.
Take the edge off.
Yeah, definitely.
That is classic.
Yeah,
That
we
really
had
is.
some great time. We had some great stories. I mean, I'll tell you, today these guys are under a lot of pressure. They're making so much money, which is great. I don't begrudge them, but they got to do the job, or else
A lot of money. Cutthroat business.
Yeah,
It really is.
It's tough.
All right, let's get back to the card show.
Certainly.
Chris is here for the Fenway Card Show. So it's going to be on the concourse. Can you kind of give us the layout?
Yeah, of course. So you'll walk into Gate B, which is off Lansdowne Street, and that's the open air gate, the big concourse, right? And that is where we're going to start with kind of like corporate sponsor setups. You'll walk in, you'll see DraftKings, you'll see Card Vault, our business, and you'll have the ability to check in and get concessions and have a lounge area outdoor, granted on the or depending on the weather. And then as you walk in underneath the bleachers, this is the right field bleachers, you'll be able to go left. And you'll see PSA, you'll see Golden Auctions, you'll see hundreds of dealer tables going down the left concourse, or you can go right, and then you'll see another setup of dealer tables and our autograph pavilion folks, and that's where you'll be able to purchase additional autograph tickets or items for autograph, etc. And it creates this really nice kind of U shape to the show. Now, what's really cool is if you do go right or if you do go left and you get to the end of that section, you can exit onto the warning track and return down the warning track to the other side of the show. So it creates this really nice circle to where if you go right and you're saying, okay, I don't want to go back that way, you can go back out to the warning track and go down to the other end of the show.
So collectors, and this is important, people will have a clear view of Fenway Park.
Oh, yeah, big time.
That's huge. I mean, that's huge because there's a lot of people that have contacted us that are driving in from New York that have never been to Fenway Park. Joe Tomasula from Memory Lane. He's never been to Fenway.
Yeah.
He is just thrilled to be able to
One of the coolest
It's
parts
great
of the
place.
show is if you are coming in, if you've never been to Fenway Park, or even if you've been to Fenway Park, you're going to be able to walk the warning track of Fenway
that is
Park.
cool.
So
That's
if
very
it's your first time seeing the ballpark, well, your first time
That's
seeing
special.
the ballpark is going to be on the ground, which is really, really
That's
cool.
great.
Not everybody got to play on the field
tours.
like you.
Yeah, well, I was very fortunate. But Fenway now the field is like just absolutely gorgeous. The way they've taken care of it.
It's incredible.
It's a great ballpark.
Rico, you were tailor-made for that park.
I was,
Yeah, with your stroke.
but see, you're doing it again. See,
No, you weren't?
I hear what he's
I
doing.
never said you weren't.
I hear what he's doing.
I was, but I didn't come into the Red Sox organization doing that.
Right.
Pete Reynolds, Bobby Dorr took me out and said, right field, how far? Not down the line. Who the heck? Not very few balls down the line, but 380. What's the right side? 420. Okay, 379. 360. 330. 310. Which way do you want to go? I says, Mr. Reynolds, I want to go that way. He says, right. I'm going to get you on the plate, open your stance a little bit, This way you can reach that outside pitch. And inside, I could handle the ball inside. So anyway, that's what we did, and I worked at it. You play 81 games in a ballpark. What, are you kidding me? I want to hit that wall. I go to right field, it's singles, maybe a double.
So most of your Fenway home runs were on the left side of the wall.
Yeah, center field, I hit actually only hit one into the bullpen. But center field to left field, yeah.
Now, back then, and the game has changed drastically from the pitcher's mound perspective, right? You have so many power pitchers throwing 100, 101, 102.
Yeah.
Did you guys back then have a sense of how hard pitchers were throwing, or did you more gauge it, hey, this guy's a power pitcher, this guy's more of a junk thrower? Did you know, were there guys in the league bringing it mid to upper 90s?
Absolutely. There were a number of guys. They probably didn't last that long, but when they first came up, there were guys that could throw, because then there's Nolan Ryan and others. And
you could hear it. You could sense it. Once you get past 94 or 95, you see it.
You know what? Repetition, right? You go in there and you work on, somebody or a machine throwing 90-something miles an hour. You're going to start timing it. And that's the biggest thing is timing, and getting a good pitch to hit. And so these guys are doing it. But there's no doubt. I mean, I admit, they're great athletes. These guys today are big and strong.
Well, again, we've talked about that in the past. Yeah. I mean, tell Chris what your workout regime was like during the off season. How would you work out?
That's it.
Right? and the chair. You would push up on the chair.
Push up on the chair.
You get up off the chair.
Exactly.
Yeah, you know,
grab the refrigerator handle.
And just eat. Say the hell with it.
I mean, Freddie Lynn started it with the Nautilus.
We didn't have it.
You guys didn't.
We couldn't lift weights.
They wouldn't let you.
The rules.
Wouldn't let you lift the weights.
No, because you get.
They were worried you get tightened up.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And now it's the complete opposite.
With golf, right? Now it is. And I wish I had, what they have now. Well,
so,
it would have been great.
Just staying in, and we're going to get back to the show.
Yeah, let's do that.
Just real quickly, Rico.
Go ahead.
You talk about, Chris asked you about the velocity of pitches.
Yeah.
Ryan and Bob Gibson, the two toughest you faced?
Yeah. Ryan was definitely the toughest. And, in spring trainings and a couple of all-star games, faced Marichal, Koufax, Drysdale, those guys, but there were most of the guys in the league were sinker, slider, or sinker curveball, some knuckleball and fork balls, but they were good control pitchers,
Interesting.
Yeah. So
and there's such a difference now, especially if you think taking this back to sports cards. The vintage market and pitchers having relevance in the vintage market compared to what pitchers are in the modern market is very different, right? If you think about Sandy Koufax rookies or Bob Gibson rookies or even the Nolan Ryan rookies, right? If you go back a generation, compared to the best pitchers in the game now, the demand for a Garrett Cole rookie or for a Jacob deGrom rookie is a fraction of the demand for the rookies in that generation.
So what's the reason for that? Is the reason because their careers, they don't throw as many innings? I mean, you look at Bob Gibson baseball card or a Nolan Ryan card, okay? They have innings and years and years and years. I mean,
complete games.
There are very few pitches today that last 12, 13, 14, 15 years. It just doesn't exist anymore.
See how many guys?
Right?
It's crazy. I think there's a few reasons for it. I think one is you have guys like Koufax or Marichal or Bob Gibson, and they've built a legend around themselves, and their careers are complete and they're full. And you also have the rarity of the vintage cards, right?
Yeah.
Which are by default, have a level of rarity and collectability within their own right. And then if you look at the modern cards, the game has changed so drastically. It is such a hitting or home run driven game. And it's not necessarily just baseball, it's just the world today.
Yeah.
Everybody wants the home run. Everybody wants to chase the home run, and that's why you have guys like Fernando Tatis and Julio Rodriguez leading the collectability of today's market.
Chris, are you a collector?
Big time.
What do you collect?
I collect game used on card baseball autographs. Yeah.
See that? That's amazing.
Yeah, it's great.
What's your favorite one?
So I do really enjoy Topps Dynasty Baseball. I just think it's one of the coolest products that has come out.
Yep.
I think it is a really clear indication of how different our market is today compared to the 50s, 60s, and 70s. So I really enjoy some of the dual on-card autographs. So if you get like a Mike Trout and a Shohei Ohtani dual on-card game-used patch autograph, to me, there's really cool.
That is very cool.
There's a lot of significance of putting players on a card together that tell a story, right? Obviously, the Ohtani Trout is teammates. Or if you have, a David Ortiz and a Manny Ramirez, teammates. And then also if you were to have, a dual autograph of two of the home run kings from that era. So dual autographs, Topps Dynasty is kind of like the cornerstone of my collection, right?
Awesome.
Outside of the vintage stuff, which I'm a sucker for.
Are you really?
Yeah, 52 mantles.
That's interesting. We talk about that. I have mixed feelings about the 52 mantle. We've talked about it a zillion times. And would that card be as popular as it is had he played for Cleveland Indians?
No, absolutely not.
Right?
And it wouldn't be as valuable if hundreds of thousands of them weren't dumped into the Hudson.
Exactly.
But hey, everything has a story and everything has a reason. And I think just in general, the allure and the brand of the New York Yankees And Mickey Mantle being the face of that organization, still being the face of that organization.
We got into that discussion last week with, who the hell was it? It was Derek Grady about Stan Musial. I said, if you flip-flop Stan Musial and Mickey Mantle, and Stan Musial play for the Yankees, and Mickey Mantle play for St. Louis.
Face of the game.
Are you kidding me?
Sandy Koufax.
Ted Williams.
Sandy Koufax is Sandy Koufax, obviously being a historically great pitcher. But he pitched for a historic organization, right?
Yeah.
It's an important piece.
No, you're absolutely right. The very, very interesting discussion. We are chatting with Chris Costa from the Fenway Card Show. In a couple of minutes, Tom Ruggie from Destiny Wealth Management is going to be joining us. Let's talk a little bit more about go through the list of signees again. People that, because again, for our viewers and listeners, you don't have to be a Red Sox fan. But if you are a Red Sox fan, this is like manna from heaven. If you're not a Red Sox fan, it's going to be an opportunity to go into the greatest ballpark in the world, I think, in the country, greatest ballpark, and see some great players.
Yeah, I think to your point, right, like the show, if you're a collector, is a great show for collectors. You can go and you can see some of the greatest auction houses, some of the biggest dealers, some of the greatest inventory in the New England and Northeast region will be at the ballpark. You'll be able to buy, sell, and trade all weekend. If you're not necessarily a collector or an avid collector, but you like sports, there's going to be plenty of entry-level opportunities for you in a collectibles perspective, whether it be memorabilia or sports cards. And if you're not a collector at all, but you're a Red Sox fan or a sports fan, you're going to be able to show up at the ballpark. You'll be able to walk onto the warning track at Fenway Park, but then you'll also be able to purchase autographed tickets for David Ortiz, Pedro Martinez, Jonathan Papelbon, who is one of the most electric closers the Red Sox have ever had. You'll be able to get autographed tickets with Tim Wakefield or Steve Pearce, who is a World Series MVP, Brock Holt, who is one of the most beloved utility guys the Red Sox have had, Mike Timlin, Jose Canseco, free autographs.
Is Louis going to be there?
Luis Tiant.
Tiant will be there.
Hey, man.
Rico Petrocelli. Not only that, but Rico is so amazing and such a Red Sox legend that we're able to bring him in, and he's signing autographs for free if you have a show ticket. So this guy is the real deal. He's a legend.
Last year, I'll tell you what, he hates when I say this, but last year at the National, we had dinner reservations at Gibson's at 6 o'clock. At 5:45 at the National, there was still 250 people standing in line to get his freaking autograph.
Well,
my family.
And I'm yelling, Rico, come on, man, you got to write faster. He's right.
Well, what's unique about Rico is he's one of the greats of the game in the history of the Red Sox, and he's so beloved, but he's stayed so close, and he's remained so accessible. A lot of these guys that we're talking about, there's an allure because they've just they've gone off into the sunset. Rico has remained hands-on.
And you've said this to me in the past. You've said to me, and I said, Rico, it aggravates me because he doesn't realize I'm speaking. He doesn't realize.
Please, if we could mute Rico's mic, please.
He does not realize what he means to Red Sox Nation. And the reason being, and he has said it to me, because I've been blessed. And no, you've always said to me that you're the one that's lucky that you did it. So you don't feel that people owe you.
They don't owe me anything.
Exactly.
Well, it's so unique because a guy like Rico who came up at such a young age and became a star, it's easy to lose sight of how grateful and how big of an opportunity that probably was, right? A lot of these guys become stars and they lose sight of it and they take it for granted, and it seems like Rico never has.
By the way, the concession stand's going to be open?
They'll be open. Fenway Franks, baby.
All right. You're buying this time.
I'm going to keep a count.
I buy all the time.
I'm going to keep a count. I'm going to have tickers on the two of you.
Get us a couple of passes?
Yeah, get you a couple of passes. We'll get you in the door. A couple of vendor passes, maybe a sponsor badge, media
All right, listen,
badge.
we're going to take a quick break. We come back. Tom Ruggie from Destiny Wealth Management is going to join us. Chris is here for the rest of the show. Hang in there. We'll be right back.
Pristine Auction is a family-owned and operated online auction specializing in autographed memorabilia, sports cards, coins, art, and collectibles. Since their founding in 2010, they've grown to 2 facilities in Phoenix, Arizona, totaling over 60,000 square feet. Jared Cavalier and an incredible staff of over 150 team members serve a very large customer base and enjoy every minute of it. By working with leading authentication companies, Pristine ensures all items are 100% authentic. In addition, third-party authenticators regularly travel to Pristine Auction to provide authentication services on site. Pristine Auction strives to operate its business in a way that's honoring to God, their families, and their customers. With a strong focus on speed, quality, and premier customer service, their mission is to be the leading online auction for every level of collector and fan. Pristine also works for Hope Sports and Identity Hoops International, traveling to Mexico to build houses for the less fortunate. Pristine Auction offers several online auction formats with thousands of auctions ending each day. For more information, go to pristineauction.com. That's Pristine Auction, the best in the business.
With record-breaking sales from everything from the white border T206 Honus Wagner for $3.12 million to some great items that support the Jackie Robinson Foundation, Golden Auctions has set the highest standards for the finest in sports cards, autographs, and game-used memorabilia. We're always accepting consignments of high-end premium sports treasures or entire collections. Please register for our next auction and bid now at goldenauctions.com. That's golden with an I. We at Golden Auctions are committed to providing unsurpassed customer service for the discriminating collector. That's exactly why we're the leader in the industry. Visit goldenauctions.com or call 856-767-8550. Remember, Golden Auctions. We don't just break records, we shatter them.
If you're a discerning collector interested in owning the most important pieces in the hobby, look no further than Leland's Auctions. The original sports auction and appraisal house, Leland's was established in 1985 by legendary Pioneer founder Joshua Leland Evans. And today, President Mike Hefner carries on their tradition. From the Tom Brady card and memorabilia collection to the famed Boston Garden auction to high-end card auctions from every major sport, Leland's has always maintained the highest standards. Go to Lelands.com and get your bid in. That's Leland's, the hobby's leading sports auction house for 4 decades.
It's often been said that championships are won on the practice field, and world records come only to those willing to work harder than everybody else. Heritage Auctions is the world's largest collectibles auctioneer because we believe that becoming the best is only an invitation to the challenge of remaining the best. This requires the skills of the hobby's top experts, capable of identifying and maximizing value for our consigners. It requires the most visited website in the industry, courting a global audience of collectors over 1.5 million strong. It requires a dedicated press department that expands our global reach far beyond the entrenched hobby marketplace. It's hard work, but a simple premise. Present the finest collectibles to the largest population of potential buyers, and world records will come. We invite all listeners to put the unmatched power of Heritage Auctions to work for you. Auction evaluations are always free, and our commission-based fee structure ensures that our interests are always aligned. The highest possible price for your collectibles. There will always be new world records to chase, so let's chase them together. Visit our website at ha.com and request your no-obligation review today.
Hi, this is Dan from Memory Lane Auctions, here to remind you that the renowned Memory Lane Collectibles Company has served as a beacon of light to the collecting community for the past several decades. Indeed, folks, it has been our utmost privilege and pleasure to provide the most enthusiastic collectors with an abundance of the finest sports cards and memorabilia for America's most coveted sports personalities via our world-class auctions. Whether you choose either a private sale transaction or the auction route, Memory Lane cordially invites you to reach out to us to maximize the value of your prized possessions. Also, it is not just sales that we pride ourselves on being the best of the rest, because if you are seeking a particular keepsake for your esteemed gathering, we will be relentless in our quest to find that special piece to fulfill your collecting dreams. So no time to wait. Reach out to us today for the purposes of capitalizing on our unparalleled marketing capabilities. Simply pick up the phone and dial 877-606-5263. That's 877-606-LANE, or find us on the World Wide Web at www.memorylaneinc.com. Now is the time for your valued consignment to ultimately become a another one of Memory Lane's record-setting prices.
They are prized possessions, and you need a place to store them that is safe and secure. The eBay Vault is exactly that. An insured, climate-controlled facility with state-of-the-art security that guards your valuable collection around the clock. Your Vault account is protected by two-step verification and easily accessible through eBay Collection. And everything stored in the eBay Vault is backed by Authenticity Guarantee. Buying and selling is a seamless experience. When you buy an eligible card on eBay, it can be sent directly to the eBay Vault at checkout. Or, if it's already in the eBay Vault, you can just keep it there. And selling from the eBay Vault is just as easy. Every card in the vault has been expertly inspected, detailed, and photographed, so you can quickly sell it with a pre-populated listing. And if your buyer chooses to withdraw their card from the eBay Vault, we handle packing, shipping, and insurance. And same goes for you. If you want that rare rookie card in your hands, you can have it shipped to you at any time. Collect like a pro with the eBay Vault.
Hey, you got to put your mic on. What the hell is wrong with you? What the?
I thought it was something.
Yeah, you know.
Oh, God. Jeez. All right, the eBay Vault is climate controlled, insured, and protected with 24-hour security. Soon you'll be able to send cards already in your collection directly to the eBay Vault. They'll take high-quality photos of the front and back of the card and document all the details for your viewing pleasure and to make the listing to sell process seamless. For more info, go to eBay, connecting buyers and sellers globally, and they got the headsets.
You belong in a vault.
You sounded like you were in a vault.
All right, let's bring in our guest, Tom Ruggie, a good friend, good guy from Destiny Wealth Management. I tell you, here's another guy that's got a hell of a collection, doing a lot of things. How are you, Tom?
I'm doing great. Good morning.
Good.
Where are
hey,
you
welcome.
at?
He's in Florida. He's in beautiful Florida.
Right?
He's in.
This is actually my first time being on the show with Rico.
Is it really?
Well, of course.
I did not realize that.
I didn't want to come
back
on
from
with
Florida.
I was going to say
what
that.
Part of Florida, you in, Tom?
Actually, he's at the where are you? Near the Villages, right? Near the Villages?
Yeah, I'm in Central Florida. We have an office in the Villages.
Perfect.
Yeah, we were supposed to do a broadcast from down there, but Rico screwed it up.
Would you leave your headset at home?
All right, Tom, couple things. Let's talk about the Perez thing, the Dick Perez documentary first. That is very cool. Can you?
Yeah, were you familiar with it?
I am. Well, yeah. No, I mean, first of all, I'm a big fan of his, and you're a big collector of his, right?
I am. I actually have. I've got 32 original Perez art pieces, and you guys talked earlier about a no-no signing cards. I actually prefer to get my art pieces signed, which may still be a no-no. But of the 32 that I have, I think at least 20 of them are signed.
Tell Chris about your card collection. This is like, Chris, check this out.
Yeah, my card I actually sold all my traditional baseball cards that I collected as a kid. I sold everything, around college years or something like that, except for my autographed cards. And I had, I probably at that point I had 1,000 or so autographed cards that I'd gone to spring training games and collected and whatnot, and started collecting an autograph set, which, unfortunately from a standpoint of the quality of the set, it probably was not a good set to choose, but started doing that. And that's really transitioned into, at this point, I'm working on trying to get complete sets for about 20 different card sets.
Wow.
And I have 4 completed sets. But my biggest one that I'm working on that I don't think I'll get completed by the time I die, but is a 52 set. I have the highest, or at least the most cards signed and the highest rated on the PSA registry. So I'm short 10 cards.
Imagine that
on the 52 set.
That's like unheard of. So you're telling me that you're only 10 cards short of getting that whole collection,
having the whole set, and I'm constantly
crazy.
I just bought 42 new cards to try to upgrade. So I've got the number one card. I don't know the stats on it, but I probably have the number one card on 60% of the cards in the entire set.
Wow. What cards do you need? I mean, let's get the
let's get the word out. Let's get the word out.
Well, the one that I need that I'm bidding on right now, it just gets so damn expensive. Is I need the Jackie Robinson.
Yeah.
And the last one just sold in an auction a week ago for 112. The current auction has another one, and it currently is going at 100. So I mean, it gets pretty price intensive.
Is that a heritage auction, Tom?
Yeah, the current one is a heritage.
Yeah, I remember seeing that card.
Yep, and it's a gorgeous card. But
what else? What else do you need?
I need Campanella. Mm-hmm. I need Sam Jones, and then everybody else I need are not big names, but they're from the high series lot, and may have passed away early or whatever. So there's some that copies I've never seen.
Unbelievable. Listen, tell us about the company and what the game plan is, what your goal is.
I probably need to work on what the game plan and goal is, to be candid. I've got a very broad wealth management company, and I've told you this before, Tom, but about 6 years ago, I started looking at my company and saying, hey, what do I want to do with the rest of my life? Because it doesn't, there was a point in my career that it was about money, and I can fortunately say money doesn't even make the top 5 of what I'm looking for at this point.
Right.
And so I set up a family office where I've got 13 families that are high net worth individuals that I work with, because we have a lot in common. And I guess the theme of what has happened is I really like working with people that are like me, and resonates with me. We have a lot in common, and that's kind of transpired into the collectibles world, because I've got a very solid collection. I like that aspect of it. I love talking to people like you all about this sort of thing. And so, we've developed a little bit of a niche where we're focusing some marketing efforts and some content on the collectibles market, in particular sports, but we do some things with exotic cars and wine and artwork and, watches and that sort of thing. But again, my personal passion is the sport. And, I don't know. The great news is I don't have to make another nickel from what I'm doing with this. I don't know kind of what the crossroads is going to be with, working and talking to very high end collectors, and then of course bringing to the table what I can bring to the table on the wealth management side. But I'm certainly having a fun time doing it.
Tom, do you ever advise people on actually building a portfolio and making cards like this or memorabilia part of an investment portfolio?
I have not actively done that. I've actually had a couple of companies reach out to me, and I've had a company talk to me about putting together, a fund that, people would invest in this fund and I would go and buy things. I don't know that that's in the wheelhouse of what I want to do. Yeah. But what I think I can do a good job of is if somebody already has that passion, I think I can help to serve as somewhat of a consultant of, things that make sense. And, Chris, your analogy regarding the stock market, of course, that hits home with me, but you were 100% right on base. And, I'm definitely a big believer in the blue chips. And, when I look at how much the value of my collection even has increased in the past 10 years. I mean, I haven't calculated everything, but I'll bet you I've done better than the market, which the market's been on a pretty good tear over the last 10 years also. So
I couldn't agree with you more, man. I've done, with the help of my financial guys who they did a little analysis for me, and I've gotten a much better return on my collection than the same thing with my investments. It's just been...
However, remember last week, our guests, we talked about people, especially buying the newer cards, modern, that they were taking bank loans out to pay for it. And then when they're pretty high.
Yeah, and then there's a margin call and you get screwed.
right down, and they're screwed. So you got to be careful too.
But I think you alluded to that, Chris, earlier.
You definitely have to be careful, right? And what we just experienced over the last 3-4 years in the sports card and trading card market is unprecedented, right? And when you have that type of a run, there are going to be opportunities that spring up or examples that spring up of people becoming over-leveraged. And there were services out there and are services out there where you can take out loans against your assets. Now, what you're doing is you're taking out loans against an asset that are in a very volatile market. So you do open up some risk there. But in general, I totally agree with what Tom's saying is, when you look at these as an investment and you look at the bigger picture, it's better to look at things beyond that 1, 2, 3 year window that we were just in and instead look at things from a 5 or a 10-year window. And if you do look at things from a 5 or a 10-year window, sports cards, collectibles, memorabilia, they've outpaced the S&P 500. I mean,
absolutely.
And it's a healthy line. Now, does the graph over the last 2-3 years look as healthy and as sturdy? Probably not. But if you look at it over a 5-year, 10-year, 50-year period, it's a really nice up and to the right type of graph.
No, I agree.
Yeah, but to your earlier point, buying the newer cards, especially when you're when you're putting money into a not quite proven player, there's a huge upside, but there's also a tremendous amount of risk.
Which is why you need to eat some of that risk with some of these more established assets, right?
Absolutely.
So if you really love Jason Tatum, right, and you want to collect Jason Tatum, great. But you should balance that out with some more established assets like a Michael Jordan, a LeBron James, Wilt Chamberlain, or Bill Russell.
Yeah.
Name of the business in my business is diversification, and
you got to be. I totally agree, Tom. So there's a rumor circulating that there may be a book in the future.
Yeah, we're in talks with a group about doing a book, and we're at the very beginning stages of this, so it is a little bit of a rumor, but we're probably going to do something. Just need to. I want to sit and talk, and including you, Tom, one-on-one. I'd like to talk to a few people whose opinions I value and trust to give me some idea directionally if it makes sense.
Don't start.
What'd you say?
Go ahead. Get it out of your system.
I thought I didn't have my, what do you call it?
All right, listen, we're just about out of time.
Wait a minute, I wanted to ask
we
about
got 30 seconds.
The Villages. They have a tremendous group there, Red Sox Nation, like almost 2,000 people.
They approached us to do a show there.
It's the largest outside of the village.
You blew it up.
No,
you
Rico,
blew it up.
You blew it. Everybody's talking
Absolutely.
about it.
Hey, Tom.
It's the largest Boston fan club outside of Boston.
I know it is. Actually, we did an appearance there a couple years ago. We had a blast.
Yeah, it was fun.
We did a book signing. Real quickly, we did a book signing. Rico spoke, I spoke. And they had to break it into two. There was 1,000 people. They had to break it into two sections of 500 people.
Yeah, it was
two
great.
shows.
It was wonderful.
Tom, your website address if people wanted to learn more?
DestinyFamilyOffice.com.
All right, listen, we're going to see. You're going to be our guest in a couple of weeks, if I recall.
I am.
With Michael Osaki from PSA.
Yes.
Good. We're going to have some fun. With that being said, Tom, thank you so much. Hang in until we say goodbye.
Your event sounds great.
Chris Costa, thank you so much, man. We had a good time.
You
get it. You understand it. To our viewers and listeners, again, thank you so much for the support. Rico and I are just overwhelmed. We really are. At least I am.
That's what I'm doing. I'm overwhelmed.
He's not laughing. He's crying.
I'm crying.
With that being said, remember, happy collecting.
The views and opinions expressed by the hosts, guests, or callers of this program do not necessarily reflect the opinions of the Studio 21 Podcast Cafe, the United Podcast Network, its partners, or affiliates.